Today we're going to talk about how to write a strong graduate letter of intent for the University of Regina's Master of Social Work program, one of the most important parts of your application. I'm going to walk you through each question, share tips on what the admissions committee is looking for, and provide both weak and strong examples for each so you can see exactly what makes a response stand out. Before we get started, I'm Alyssa and I'm an application advisor with MSW Helper, which is a platform dedicated to helping people like you increase their odds of getting accepted into an MSW program. I know when I applied to programs, I remember being very stressed out, feeling very overwhelmed and just lost. I did not know what schools wanted or how to make my statement stand out. But with the support of MSW Helper, I did end up getting accepted or waitlisted everywhere that I applied, and now I get to help other applicants like you do the same. Quick disclaimer, MSW Helper is not affiliated in any way with the University of Regina. All of the tips here are just our opinion. Alright, so jumping right in, you can think of this letter as their version of a personal statement. So even though the name is different, letter of intent, first personal statement, really it's the same thing and they're getting at the same kinds of questions. It's really just a form that has 4 questions that they want you to answer, but the trick is don't think of it like 4 disconnected parts, right? Don't give 4 disconnected answers. Instead, you want to think of it as one cohesive story that you're telling about who you are as a social worker, where you come from, where you're going, and how their program is really going to help you get there. Lastly, I do want to mention that question prompts and requirements, they don't change often. They're usually the same year to year, but it's smart to always double check with the university on their website to get the most current information and make sure you have the right questions before you start crafting your answers. First up is a question that really is getting at your motivation and your area of interest. Specifically, the first question is, please describe your specific area of academic interest and explain what motivated you to choose this area. So this question is really getting at what do you care about and why do you care about it? Why do you want to address this thing? And here are my tips. First off, be specific about your interest. Don't just say that you are passionate about social justice or helping people or you want to be a clinical social worker or something equally as vague and kind of generic. You don't want to pick something too broad. It's better actually to go niche. And you also want to ground your motivation in a personal or professional story so that it really feels authentic and unique to you. And so that it gives them context, right? Like it makes sense why you care about this thing because maybe it's something you experienced personally or you observed in your role. And if you can, connect your interest to a social work theory or concept. Doing that is a great way to show academic depth and to show your readiness for graduate level social work. Examples can be a great way to help put these tips in context. So let's start by taking a look at a weaker example. A weaker one might be something like, I am interested in working with Indigenous families and children. In my BSW, I enjoyed my family and child welfare courses, and this made me want to continue learning in this area. Now, I wouldn't say this is wrong. It's not a bad answer. It's realistic and might make for a good first draft, but it's also a bit vague, and it doesn't really show a clear academic focus or deeper motivation. A stronger example would be something like, my area of interest is trauma-informed practice with children and families involved in child welfare. During my BSW practicum in a rural community, I saw how systemic inequities and intergenerational trauma shaped Indigenous families' experiences with child protection. These encounters motivated me to pursue graduate study to deepen my knowledge of trauma-responsive, culturally grounded interventions. So this one works better because it's specific. It's rooted in this person's experiences, and it's motivated by a real social issue that the applicant has observed, right? Like, what they want to focus on is really clear, and why, right? Like, we can see exactly where that motivation comes from. So that's the kind of answer you want to aim for. Next, they ask about your relevant experiences and skills that demonstrate your readiness for an MSW. Specifically, the second question is, describe how your past education, professional, and other experiences have prepared you to be successful in this graduate program. So, like I mentioned, this is really the proof of readiness question, right? Like, show us that you're ready for graduate level studies in social work. When answering this one, remember that the committee already has your resume and transcript. Your job here isn't to repeat that information. It's really to interpret it for them, right? You need to connect the dots and show that your experiences have given you the specific skills needed to thrive in this program. So choose stories that connect directly to your motivation and your future goals, right? Tell that cohesive story. Showcase your ability to reflect. Don't just list your experiences. Explain what you learned from them, insights you gained, skills you gained, and why those are going to be important for your future practice. And make sure you connect your preparation directly to the demands of graduate study. For this one, a weaker example might be something like, in my BSW program, I completed a practicum in the hospital where I supported families. After graduation, I worked for 2 years in child welfare, which has prepared me for the MSW program. Again, this isn't terrible, but ultimately it's just a list. It doesn't really explain how these experiences translate into graduate level readiness. It's a little bit vague, right? We're lacking some specifics. They don't really expand on the skills they gained and how exactly these experiences or skills prepared them for the program. It's just a little bit of a short list. A stronger example would be something like, for the past 2 years, I have worked as a frontline child protection worker, managing high caseloads and collaborating with interdisciplinary teams. These experiences sharpened my critical thinking, conflict resolution, and ability to apply theory in practice. My BSW research project on permanency planning also developed my academic writing and research skills. Together, these experiences strengthened my resilience and prepared me for the intellectual and emotional demands of graduate level social work studies. So you can see this example is a lot more in depth. It's got a lot more reflection, right? It connects the dots. We go from experience to skills to readiness for the MSW program. And that's what reviewers want to see. And this isn't a perfect example. I would like to see a little bit more specificity, actually. For example, could they show the skills that they've developed, like critical thinking, conflict resolution, and their ability to apply theory to practice? Could they show those with some examples, right? Show me the skills, don't tell me. But overall, it's a great example, and you can clearly see what it's doing that the weak example wasn't, right? We have those specifics, we have that reflection, we have that connection. And then for the third question, they want to know about what your goals are when you're in the program. Specifically, the third question is, describe what you hope to achieve in this graduate program. And the key phrasing there is in this graduate program, right? So this question is really focusing on what you personally hope to learn within the program itself while you're a student. So here are my tips for answering it well. First, articulate the specific skills, knowledge, and experiences that you want to gain and reflect on why learning them is important to you, right? You really, with your answer here, want to demonstrate that you've done your homework. You're aware of the learning opportunities they offer, maybe, for example, specific courses that they offer that are relevant to your goals. You can articulate what exactly you're hoping to learn in those specific courses and why it's important to you. Or perhaps you mention a specific faculty member who does research or has expertise in your area of interest who maybe you'd like to work with on a research project or learn from in some other way. And you can articulate the connection between their work and your interests and what you'd like to learn there and why it matters to you. Really connecting the program's learning opportunities to the real world issues that you care about or your future practice that were originally mentioned in your earlier answers, right? Like that's what I mean when I say crafting a cohesive narrative, and that this is really overall one story instead of 4 separate, disconnected answers. So really with this question, they're wanting you to provide, in a sense, your learning plan, right? Like what are you going to learn in this program? A weaker example for this one might be something like, my goal in the MSW program is to learn more advanced practice skills and research. I also want to take courses that will help prepare me to offer clinical support. This one is just way too generic. It's one of those kind of answers that I think we could just copy and paste into any other applicant's letter of intent and it would work. We wouldn't even really have to change anything. Anytime you have an answer like that we could just copy and paste into someone else's, it's a sign that you haven't customized it enough to you and you haven't been specific enough. A stronger example would be, in the MSW program, I hope to deepen my ability to conduct community-based research and program evaluation. I plan to focus on youth mental health services in rural Saskatchewan with the goal of identifying culturally safe practices for Indigenous youth. I am also eager to strengthen my clinical toolkit by taking advanced practice courses in trauma-informed care, which I will apply to both frontline practice and future policy work. So as you can see, this one again is much more specific. It is connecting to the person's goals and areas of interest in much more specific terms. It's showing awareness of social issues. It's showing a variety of skills they want to learn, really creating that kind of learning plan with some focus on research, some focus on clinical skills, some focus on macro level skills in terms of the policy work. And it maybe could be a bit more specific, I would say. Like, I would have loved if they called out a specific course that they want to take that's going to provide that trauma-informed care or some other specifics like that. But overall, this is a strong example, and you can see how it shines in comparison to the weaker one. And now for this last question, they want to know about your career goals and your fit with their program. Specifically, the final question is, describe why this particular graduate program at the University of Regina may help you fulfill your long-term aspirations and objectives. So this one's a little bit similar to the last one, but also different. It's much more future focused and I would say fit with the program focused. Not so much asking you for a detailed learning plan while you're a student, but making the connections between their program, what you'll learn, their approach to social work, and your future aspirations. Right? So really looking at how the University of Regina's MSW program in particular is uniquely suited to helping equip you for your long-term goals. Why their program and not a different MSW program? To answer it well, you'll want to connect their program's strengths, their program's philosophy, the faculty expertise, or any other unique features of their program to your future aspirations. So if I was going to be answering this question, I would take some time to do a real deep dive on their website, looking at and reading all of the pages that I can. I know for sure they have an About Us page, which has a lot of information on the principles that their program follows, the partnerships they have, the approach that they take. There's even links to their research programs and centers that they have and the opportunities for students there, as well as the type of research they do. There is even their strategic plan, right? Which is the plan for their program's future, which you can learn a lot about what they value and where they're planning to go by looking at that document, for example. So there's a lot of resources on their website you can find to really do your homework and understand where the fit is between their program and your goals. So really you want to explain why their program is the ideal place to prepare you, right? Going beyond those skills you want to develop to really showing like, here's the fit between us, between this program's personality and ways of approaching social work and my way of approaching social work practice and the goals that I have, those long-term things that I want to accomplish. So it's a really future-oriented. And also in answering this, I know something I'll sometimes see is these kind of like convenience reasons for why it's a good fit, right? Like sometimes you'll see that the individual lives in Regina, so the location is ideal. And that's not really a compelling reason, even though it might be true. There's kind of some like exceptions to this rule. Sometimes someone has been in Regina, born and raised, and they plan to stay here forever, and they're very involved in the community, and they know the issues going on in the community, and they really appreciate how this program is tapped into those issues and has designed the program to address these specific issues, and there's just this perfect fit there. So if that's your case, you can absolutely talk about the location and being a part of the community and the fit there, but you'd need to frame it the right way to make it compelling. And lastly, they don't ask for this explicitly, but I always recommend communicating what you'll contribute to their program as well, right? So think about, for example, the professional experiences you have in a certain area that you've been practicing in, either during your practicum in your BSW or since you graduated your BSW, or maybe a skill you have in a specific area, or perspectives that you've gained from your unique lived experiences, or things like that. Like really think about what you're going to contribute to the cohort's learning, what you're going to contribute to the program or the University of Regina community, right? So not just focusing on what you're going to gain, but also what you're going to bring. A weaker example might be, I am applying to the University of Regina because it offers an MSW program that will allow me to gain more knowledge and skills. I also live in Saskatchewan, so this program is convenient for me. Now, someone may not say that last part in exactly those words, but a lot of the time people say things that are really communicating that. And while it may be a realistic reason and a true reason, it's not one that's going to impress the admissions committee. A stronger example would be, my long-term goal is to contribute to Indigenous child welfare policy reform. The University of Regina's MSW program, with its strong emphasis on Indigenous-centered social work and integrative analysis, is uniquely suited to support this path. The faculty's partnership with First Nations University of Canada and focus on critically engaged social work aligns with my commitment to working collaboratively with Indigenous communities to promote systemic change. This is compelling because it really demonstrates clear alignment between this applicant's goals and the program's unique philosophy, right? Like, they've really spoken to things that are buried within the website and that the school highlights as features, right? Like, things the school is proud of, like their partnership with First Nations University of Canada, their focus on critically engaged social work, right? The applicants pointed those things out and made the connection between those things and their long-term goals, right? Like, that's what you really want to do with this answer. To wrap it up, here are my key takeaways. The first, number one, and I feel like I said this multiple times already, is be specific. Really avoid those generic answers. You want to connect your past experiences to the skills that you're going to gain in grad school, and then to show how those skills align with your goals, and to show how your goals align with the University of Regina's unique strengths in terms of their MSW program, right? Like, the things that they are proud of and advertise as unique to them and how they approach this work. And then always reflect. Don't just list, don't just explain what you want to gain, but explain why, explain how. Make those connections really clear. Go deeper. Your letter of intent is your chance to tell the committee who you are, why you're pursuing the MSW, and why their program is the ideal place for you, and why you're ideal for their program. And if you approach it as one cohesive story, even though it's 4 questions, you're much more likely to write something that stands out and is really compelling. I hope this has been helpful and that you're feeling more confident about completing the letter of intent. A great next step is to check out our free personal statement template, which you can find using the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm wishing you all the best of luck with your MSW applications.